cars are in position. Hello everybody and a very good afternoon to you all. Welcome to round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour alongside TCR here at the beautiful Zhuzhou International Circuit in China. Up in the commentary box, my name is Paul Jeffrey. Down on the grid, as always, we have Lisa Leyland picking out the latest stories and news ahead of what should be a very exciting race indeed, and I'm absolutely delighted for you all to be joining us wherever you are around the world as we get down to crunch time of the Championship Challenge. Before we start though, let's head down to Lisa and see who she's managed to find on the grid.
Hello everyone and welcome to the starting grid here at the Zhuzhou circuit in China. We had our qualifying session earlier this morning. It's now the first race of the day. Of course, the Lincoln Co-Sign Racing boy Zhuzhou on pole. We saw him fastest in time practice, both sessions in the wet and the dry. And I want to grab a few words with him because obviously now it started raining. In the qualifying session we had earlier, it was dry. Let's see how he's feeling ahead of this first race of the day. Santi, it's me again. I was just telling everyone, obviously you've been fast all weekend, but now the rain is coming. That's going to change things.
Well,
oh no, you stressed as well. Why?
You know, it's always like this when I say to you before, either if it's wet or dry, but this condition is like, who knows, you know. Feels okay for slick now, but let's see if it rains more. And yeah, we have 4 cars, so I don't think we go in all 4 cars with the same strategy. But the key will be to get a good start and then see what the weather is. It's the only thing we cannot control is the weather. So then we will hope for the best and see which way or decision we take with the tires.
Well, Santi, just quickly, you mentioned the strategy. Can I ask, when will you be letting your teammates through? Or are you? I mean, I'm just assuming here.
As soon as I can, I would say, or as soon as I get the order, or as soon as it's the best for the team. So we competing for Cyan and Lincoln Co, so whatever strategy we do will be the best for the team.
Best of luck, Santi. You know, the thing is, you chat to the drivers throughout the weekend and they're super cool and really relaxed. And then as soon as it gets to the start grid, on race day, it's a totally different kettle of fish. I want to speak to Jan Erlichet over here, teammate to Santi, who's actually in the title chase. There's mathematically 5 drivers that can actually get that title, Jan Erlichet being one of them. Jan, just a quick word. Just tell us about the qualifying session. The Cyan boys were fastest in both sessions. Tell us.
It was not an easy qualifying, even if it looks like on the tree. I struggled quite a lot with the balance of my car, to be honest, being 1.5 tenths of pole, kilos of ballast was quite unexpected. But we take it, and now we see what's going to happen with the weather. It starts to rain here, so it's going to be challenging.
Okay. Now, I actually asked Santi the same question. Obviously, you have an outside chance of getting the driver's title, and your teammate Ted. Will you be letting Ted through, or will you be focusing on your own title chase?
Where is team manager? I think he is that's the question.
Okay. Just quickly, another question for you, Jan. Looking at your season so far, saw you got the victory in Uruguay, and then the second race, it was a difficult one. It looks like you're struggling to put 2 solid races together. Jan, what do you put that down to? Would you put that down to being inconsistent to a certain extent, or is it bad luck? It's just not on your side.
Oh, you know, bad luck, you can't rely only on luck. We had some technical issue. We blew up an engine in Marrakesh. We blew up a gearbox in Uruguay. So a lot of DNF because of technical issue. I have done mistake myself as well. But I mean, out of the 10 last races, we DNF 4 and we are only 40 points away the point lead. So, I mean, with the 3 race win we had, covered this a little bit. But the reverse grid result, we need to improve them for sure. But we will start this weekend to improve it and see if we can get a go in Macau for the title.
Best of luck, Jan. Thank you for chatting to us. Now, I would like to speak to Ted, mainly because we saw Ted Bjork from Zion Racing. He actually went from 3rd in the standings. Then after that qualifying session, he's now moved up to 2nd. He's only 23 points off the lead. Important to speak to him because I want to see where his mind is at the moment. Hi, Ted.
Hello.
I was just telling Qualifying race, you actually went from third in the standings up to second, 23 points off the lead now. Looking really good out there.
Yeah, and it felt really good.
Yeah.
That's what I really needed to do.
Right.
And I think I surprised myself a little bit and my team, but it felt really good putting that lap time in.
Yeah. But also, you're carrying the extra weight. It's 40 kilos you're carrying. I mean, that's not easy. It's not an easy task.
No, it's not, and that's why I was a little bit surprised. But the only thing I can focus on is delivering what I can.
Okay. Now, I spoke to both your teammates about the strategy. Okay, obviously it's you and Jan. You're both in the title chase. What is the team orders between the two of you? I know Santi's going to help you both, but between you two, what's going to happen?
Now I want to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking after number one.
Exactly.
Okay, let's quickly, because I know you need to go, but talking about the circuit here, it's a brand new track for everyone. I think it's just Ma, your teammate, that's actually raced here before. What are your thoughts on it?
No, it's a nice technical circuit,
right.
Yeah, and I think it will be interesting races because there are a lot of places to overtake.
Okay.
So I think the race should be fine, and the weather is also making a part now with the rain dripping, so I think it will be a really exciting race.
Best of luck, Ted. Thanks for chatting to us. Okay, now we've spoken to mainly the Zion boys. Let's speak to BRC Hyundai's Mikel Azcona over here. If you can find me, I'm one step ahead of you. I'm over here. There's a lot of people on the grid. Let's speak to Hyundai BRC's corner. Mikel, hey, hello. Just a few words. Qualifying session for you. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. To be honest, yesterday we were a lot after practice because we were out of the pace.
Right.
Coming to a new track, we were completely loose on the setup. But we found many things on the data, and now in the qualifying we improved quite a lot in few sectors, which put us in P4, P5. I had a slightly better pace on the last sector, but I did a mistake, so I was able maybe to be on P2. But very happy to be here now fighting with the Blues that they always saw during the weekend better potential, especially on top speed. They always 6-7 kph faster than us. So difficult to fight to these cars.
Well, let's talk about you and your teammate, Norby. Obviously, you're both in that title chase. Norby is leading the standings at the moment. What is your approach, Mikel? Are you gonna help him out, or are you just gonna focus on your own race now?
I mean, for sure I will help Norby. He's fighting for the title. He is leading by far. So the goal at the moment is help each other and try to help him, because we only have four races remaining.
Right.
So, but you know, these conditions, you never know what can happen. But as far as I can, for sure I will help him, and we are working as a team. So that's our target.
Okay, best of luck. Thank you. That's Mikel Azcona there from BRC. Let's see if we can leader Norby Michelis at the moment. He actually lost a couple of points. I'm sure at this stage of the game, he's not too worried about it. Is he around here? Is Norby here? Ah, he's in the car. Let me see if I can grab him. Okay, if I can. Do you know what? Maybe I'll come back because he looks like he's a little bit in the zone. I'll come back. Let's go to Esteban, actually, because do you know what? Esteban, he's actually lost a position in the standings after qualifying. He was second. He's now dropped down to third. So if I can grab a few words with Esteban to see how he's feeling, but maybe Esteban is not here. I don't think Esteban is here, but I tell you what. Okay, well, do you know what? Let's wrap things up now. You can grab a few words with Esteban later, potentially, or tomorrow on the grid. Okay, so that's it from the grid here. Time now for the first race of the day. So it's back to commentary.
Thank you very much indeed, Lisa Leyland down there on the grid. And the astute of you will notice there's a little bit of the wet stuff falling from the sky. We've had some mix and match weather, it has to be said, here in China this weekend. A bit of a thunderstorm took place before free practice 2 yesterday morning. Thought we'd cleared the main thrust of the bad weather come qualification, but it does. Another curveball has been thrown into the mix, it has to be said indeed. If the task was not large enough for these drivers coming into this race, a little bit of makes things more complex again for all of our drivers, not least of whom the drivers that are the top FIA TCR World Tour standings following qualifying. Lisa alluded to that one down there, that Ted Bjork has moved up to second in the standings. 23 points adrift is Ted from our leader, Norbert Michaelis. Esteban Gurrieri drops to third in the standings, 27 in arrears. Then it's Jan Aleshe, minus 39. And fifth in the standings, 41 points away from the front of the grid. We came into this week drivers mathematically in contention for the title. That's been whittled down to 9 now, as John Philippi can no longer mathematically take the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour title at the end of Macau. 9 drivers. That'll be a little bit smaller, I think, come the conclusion of this upcoming race. And that's why it's very important for the likes of Ted Bjork, for the likes of Mikael Azcona, for the likes of Esteban Gurrieri to score big points, stay in the conversation, get to Macau. Macau, anything and almost everything has happened over the years. If you're in the contention in terms of points, you've got a chance. And it's going to be a big day of racing today in order to progress us through to that stage of what has been a fascinating campaign. Jan Aleshe is one of those drivers that's looking for a strong result. We saw that he won last time out at El Pinar, the first race of the day at DNF in race number 2. He's got a lot of work to do. Starting from third on the grid, he's got a good opportunity. Big question is going to be, will there be a bit of team play between himself and Ted Bjork? Technically, Bjork's ahead in the standings by a healthy margin as well. Jan's not the kind of driver, though, that will be particularly keen on giving up his aspirations before it is mathematically impossible. Mikael Azcona, he did a good qualifying session, starts in 4th place. He's ahead of his teammate Norbert Michaelis. Of course, the driver that is very much the point man at Hyundai in terms of scoring the big points and taking the title. Azcona may be roped in to playing the team game over the course of this weekend, although with the bad weather rapidly approaching. In wet tyres, certainly loitering around the cars, it has to be said. Not quite sure yet exactly who's going to go for the wet stuff. There is one of the Kumho wet tyre slicks on the car as things stand for Norbert Michaelis. Doesn't look like the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team are particularly concerned that this wet weather will hold out. Now the weather in this region can be a little bit challenging. It can go from being relatively dry to quite intense thunderstorms at the flick of a switch, it seems. So it's certainly going to be a gamble for a lot of these drivers. I'm hearing down on the grid actually that it is easing off a little bit. So the word on the street is the expectation will be slick tyres to start this race. Of course, you never quite know until you get into the thrust of everything. But it does look like we're going for a majority, if not entirety, of slick tyres to start this. Of course, this weekend, racing alongside TCR China. The Martin Z's machine. TCR had a very impressive qualification indeed. 7th place at the end of Q2, ahead of quite a few big name World Tour regulars. Another driver as well, David Zhuzhou, down in 11th place, and Jason Zhang in 12th position, really doing a sterling job representing TCR China this weekend. Jason Zhang, of course, and Martin Z are both in contention for the TCR China Championship alongside Martin Chow as well. 277 points coming into the weekend for Jason Zhang versus 271 for Martin Chow and 265 for Martin Z. So they've got an opportunity to make big headway in their own national championship. Ma Qinghua, local driver as well. Chinese star starts from 8th position on the grid for this first race of the weekend. Ma has been mighty rapid in terms of free practice times and during qualification. I think perhaps he'll be a little bit disappointed in terms of where he's starting for this race 1. Of course, reverse grid race 2. That puts him in 3rd place in a very strong position indeed to have a good result. Quick chat about compensation weight coming into this weekend. We've already heard a little bit about that from Lisa on the grid. For the World Tour regulars, it's Ted Bjork that's carried the maximum 40 kilograms. He said earlier today that his qualifying lap for second place behind his zero-weight teammate Santi Urrutia was arguably the best qualifying lap of his career. So Ted Bjork very satisfied with his work. No, but Nicholas, Mikel Azcona are both carrying 30 kilos into this weekend. Jan Elishay has 20 against his name. Esteban Gurrieri just the 10 kilograms. So a few of the big name drivers are carrying a little bit of weight coming into this one. It's going to be fascinating to see how these cars carry it around the 2.345 mile 14 turn Zhuzhou circuit, Zhuzhou International circuit here in China. First time we've raced here in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. As Lisa mentioned, Ma has a little bit of experience in the strike, but for our World Tour regulars, it is very much a new experience, and that's going to be interesting to see how they get on over the course of the racing action. David Zhu, that we're looking at there, 11th position on the grid. Fabulous result for the teamwork. Lincoln co-driver David Zhu. Another very strong qualification car, number 9. Beautiful looking livery, of course, with a very famous team on the front bumper. Very distinctive. Seems strange, doesn't it, for us Europeans to see a Lincoln Co. not in the cyan racing blue, but they're a crack outfit over there in TCR China. Very strong result. Jason Zine that we're looking at there as well for TCR China. Points leader. Three-time Macau winner as well, the 2021 TCR Asia champion, beating none other than Martin Barr. So we know that Jason Zhang is a very, very fast peddler indeed. He finished 12th in qualifying a little bit earlier on this morning. So again, expect him to be in contention for the top 10 positions at the very least. One would imagine. John Filippi, he's the driver of the 10 that came in championship contention. He's fallen out now, mathematically speaking, for the title chase. Filippi had a very difficult, in fact, to be fair, Volcano Motorsports as a team had a very difficult qualifying. 13th was the best he could do at the end of Q1, although he did beat his former world champion teammate and returning World Tour driver Rob Huff. Rob qualified in 15th position, not quite yet comfortable and on top of the car, having parachuted in relatively late notice to Volcano Motorsports. This is a bit of a preparation race for Rob as he gets ready to extend, for him hopefully, his win record at Macau next time around. Dusan Borkovic, he got caught out a little bit by the timing troubles that we had in qualifying. Wasn't quite sure if he made it through or not, but eventually here comes the conclusion that Borkovic only good enough for 14th place in qualifying his lap time in the Goat Racing Honda, so we can expect Borkovic to work his way forward over the course of the race. There is Huffy that we just spoke about. Great to have Rob Huff, the English driver, back in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour for this round and the following event. Of course, he took the championship right the way down to the wire at Macau in 2023, just missing out to Norbert Nicholas. Then we have a look at some of the TCR China competitors. The Hyundai N squad, car number 1 on the door, Martin Chow, reigning TCR China champion. Second in the point standings, coming into this weekend as well, so he's very much looking to do a back-to-back in TCR China. Fantastic outfit and driver. Wu Yifan as well that we're looking at here in car number 51. That's the 326 Racing Team Audi RS3 LMS TCR. Another car that we know is very fast indeed. Wu Yifan qualified down in 17th position for this race. So he's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to work his way through the running order. And of course, again, like I said, this is a new circuit to the World Tour. So we've got no racing experience on this track. TCR China came here at the start of the year. So they've been on this track, they know this track well. It's part of their yearly calendar, of course. They've raced once already this season, so they do have a bit of an advantage for the opening laps. Let's take a look at the starting grid then. Santi Urrutia from Ted Bjork, Jan Elishay and Mikel Azcona are our first 2 rows of the grid. Lincoln Co, Lincoln Co, Lincoln Co, Hyundai. Norbert Nicholas will start in 5th. Esteban Gurrieri alongside him. In 7th position is Martin Z, with Marcin Qua keeping him company in position number 8. Starting from 9th place is Marco Butti of Goat Racing, and he's got Bebu Girolami, who also has the reverse grid pole for race 2 tomorrow, of course. In 11th place is David Zhuzhou, and in 12th position is Jason Zhang. 13th place goes to John Freedy, alongside him. Rob Huff in 15th, and in 16th place is Martin Chow. 17th position goes to Wu Yifan, and then in 18th place is Brady Lee. So Zhuzhou is in 19th, and alongside him in 20th position. 21st place goes the way. Just lost my time screen. 21st position goes the way of Deng Bo Wei. In 26th is Xiong Ming, and then there's 28 cars that make up the grid because we're alongside the TCR China competitors this weekend, and already they're putting on an absolutely fabulous show, showing how competitive the TCR China class is. Really strong results in free practice and in qualification. And of course, local knowledge goes a long way. They will have a much better understanding of the weather conditions, I'm absolutely sure. Some of our World Tour regulars, that may play in their advantage. It does look like everybody's on slick tyres though. So we do feel the weather is easing off slightly coming into this one. Which is great news for those who are looking for a consistent platform in which to race. They do like a little bit of wet stuff, I dare say. Good folks at home enjoy that one as well. Quick confirmation of the drivers' points now. It is Norbert Mikkelis, 23 ahead of Ted Bjork. 27 back is Gurrieri. 39 is Jan Alichet. Avkoda is 41 in arrears. Santi Abutia becoming a little bit detached. Mathematically still in the shout. Realistically, a little bit further back. Down there in 6th position. He spoke to Lisa on the grid. He's absolutely willing and prepared to help his teammates in this race. On camera with Norbert Mikkelis. His wipers are ablaze. Doesn't look like there's too much precipitation on the screen at this moment in time, but Mikkelis belt and braces job. Windscreen wipers on there just to help clear a line of sight as best as possible. Slick tyres on the cars, wet tyres in the pit lane. Don't think they're going to need those this race, but it has to sit. So, fasten your seatbelts, folks. Get yourself comfortable. Make sure you've got a refreshing beverage by your side. Mark my words, you ain't going to want to miss a single second of this race. I am absolutely sure. Jason Zhang on board camera there. We have the TCR China competitors, also Martin C for the Macro Racing Team Honda Civic. And in terms of the World Tour, and on board camera for Norbert Mikkelis for the BRC Hyundai N Squadron Corsa team, and Ma Qinghua in the Lincoln Co Cyan Racing car. Ma starting all the way down in 8th. It's going to be an exciting prospect to watch him charge. I'm absolutely sure. And here is the camera for Martin Z on board that Honda. Hopefully we see plenty of action throughout the field. I dare say this one's going to be a bit of a classic. Looking forward to this one. The break has been a little bit longer than I like. I'm sure, just like yourselves, I do enjoy me some touring car racing. And I cannot wait to see how this one unfolds. Tension mounts down the Cyan Racing Lincoln Co pit. Frederick Valler pensively watching on his 3 chargers at the front of the field. Circling round to the back. Final car is lining up in position. So here we go then. Pressure is building, and we're about to go racing. The green flag is being readied at the back of the field for round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour, alongside TCR China here at the Zhuzhou International Circuit in China. The revs are rising, and we are go the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Santiago Arrutia gets a perfect start at the front of the field. Doors left open for Ted Bjork. Will we see him change in position? Almost immediately. The camera lens is wet. The cars are on slick tyres. Everybody's scrabbling for a little bit of grip further down the running order. We saw one of the Hyundai's running a little bit deep. They're back on the racetrack. At the front of the field, though, Ted Bjork is now our new race leader. The change has happened almost immediately. Santi Urrutia in the middle of the racetrack. Elishay side by side with Mikel Azcona. Now Jan Elishay to the outside. Not enough room to make the pass. Azcona sees an opportunity. He dives to the inside. Two of our championship challengers side by side at the front of the field. Everybody scrabbling for a little bit of real estate, a little bit of grip. Two of the Lincoln Co's are side by side. A couple of the Hyundais as well in the TCR China field. But up front, Elishay eventually finds his way past, helped no doubt by Santiago Urrutia. He's up in a second position behind Ted Bjork. The two Hyundais, that's Norbert Michelis getting caught up on the grass on the curb as well. Michelis though gets the car back up and running, just a little bit of momentum loss on that occasion. That opens the door though and allows the GOAT Racing Honda to find a way through, so that's a really good start for Esteban Gurrieri. And look at Mikel Azcona as well, climbing over the back of Santi Urrutia's car. Desperate is Azcona to find a way past. Michelis has a little look at the deeply running Esteban Gurrieri, but Gurrieri gets the car pointed in a straight line and the loud pedal very firmly pressed on the defensive. Michelis to the inside, not enough room on this occasion, and just look how tentative the entire field are. The track is greasy, the surface is wet, and grip seems to be a bit of a rarity for these 28 cars out there, almost in slow motion as they're squabbling. And there, we didn't see it on camera, but Azcona does find his way past Santiago Urrutia. So that is a very important move for Mikel Azcona to make himself the first car past the Lincoln Co that isn't in championship contention. Urrutia's job is to help his teammates. He can't do that one while he's behind the BRC Hyundai though. So that is very, very important for Mikel Azcona. Just behind him, Esteban Gurrieri keeping a straight line while everybody else tries to warm the tyres. Gurrieri though can't quite get the job done on the brakes. Beppo Girolami thinks about having a look at Norbert Michelis in the background. Is it a defensive posture or was it a sniff of an overtake? Not quite sure what the end result is. Michelis still stays free. What are we looking at here? This is very impressive, it has to be said. Mikel Azcona instantaneously has got onto the back of Jan Elishay. That's why it took a moment to work it out, because the gap has gone from a couple of car lengths to basically nothing in the space of a corner. So Mikel Azcona absolutely relishing these difficult weather conditions. The young Spanish driver, very much a touchy-feely kind of driver, really understands what the car's doing underneath him, very in tune with the language of the car, and this is working absolutely to Mikel Azcona's advantage. He's going to hope to try and find his way past as quickly as possible to get in contention with Ted Bjork. And it does seem like Jan Elishay is under pressure here, as a little bit further back we still see Norbert Michelis trying to find his way past Esteban Gurrieri. Michelis will be keen to clear Gurrieri, of course, because he's one of the two drivers that are closest to him in the World Tour standings. It is very much a damage limitation exercise, apparently, for the BRC squad. They're not confident, they're not content with their pace in dry conditions. We've got a little bit of wet stuff, and that is most definitely mixing things up. As again, we go through, it's now the third lap. Ted Bjork, yowzers, very, very sideways in the front of the field, so he's pushing hard. But it is Mikel Azcona where the real interest lies at this moment in time. Third place for the Spaniard. Jan Elishay just ahead, but Elishay certainly not looking as strong as he would like to be at this moment in time. The 168. Well, there's a mistake. There is somebody around. That is 28 of Zhuzhou. So the Evolve Racing Elantra, big damage to the rear of that Hyundai. This may well bring a safety car out. Zhuzhou ain't going to be going nowhere, I don't think, particularly quickly. And there's the dive. Mikel Azcona throws the car to the inside, just cut away. That is a last of the late breakers. It's all locked up and sideways on corner exit. That's going to open the door for Elishay. Thank you very much, says Jan Elishay, and takes that one back almost instantly. But Mikel Azcona, with the biggest signal of intent possible, is showing his rivals he's going to move forward. He He's not content to sit in third position. Now he has another nibble, gets a good run out of the hairpin. The outside line though, not where you want to be, tries to cut to the inside. Elishay has the line covered. The long way round is only going to lead to disaster. So Azcona tries one way, tries the other, has a look for the drag down the inside. Little bit of rat-a-tat contact between the two as well. Azcona unceremoniously told this is not a door that is going to open for you, and somewhat saving the blushes of Jan Elishay. It is a safety car. Everybody has to slow down, of course, to the mandated limit. And Mikel Azcona desperately trying to get that deal done before the yellow flags wave. That was some very, very aggressively brave driving from Mikel Azcona. Jan Elishay absolutely has been put on notice. This is not going to be an easy challenge from the car behind. So lap 4 of 16 then, safety car has been called, Zhuzhou, so with damage going slowly a few moments ago. We can add, don't forget, 2 laps to the overall race distance due to safety car intervention. So it is of 16 laps this race. That will slowly but surely creep up depending on how quickly we can get that job done. There is the very sad looking machine of Jamie Lai, I think that is. Yes, it is. That is the 52 of 326 Racing Team car, Jamie Lai, the Audi RS3 LMS. So maybe Jamie's machine is the one that was the instigator or the damage causer on Zhuzhou's Hyundai. Let's have a quick look then at the race start once again. Good initial launch from pole position for Santi Urrutia. And just as we said on the grid, no real effort to defend. The door left open for Ted Bjork. Very keen, of course, to jump into that gap. Driven a premium further back a few cars. Squabbling, having to get on the grass. That's one of the Hyundai N squads machines from the TCR China Championship. That's a big incident you didn't see on the live. That is one of the BRC Hyundais going off. That's 129. That is Bebu Girolami. So Bebu getting his braking all wrong, it has to be said. And then this is riding on board with the Macro Racing car, Martin Z. Martin started a little bit further down the running order. Look how contact, that was very close between Bebu and Martin there. Did well, did the Chinese driver to avoid any kind of real problems. This is Norbert Michaelis. Just look how tentative everybody is. A little bit of contact ahead of him between his teammates. Sideways for Bebu. Sorry, not Bebu, for Mikel Azcona. Just look how little grip there is on the track. Everybody's trying so hard to find a little bit of space, find some grip. That is the unceremonious exit of Zhuzhou. Picked it up a little bit late, so I'm not quite sure exactly whether that was an open door or an element of over-optimism, shall we say, between those two drivers. But the end result is the same. 2 cars out of contention, and then just before the safety car was called, that is the audacious effort from Mikel Azcona. Couldn't get the car stopped in time, though, didn't have enough grip to get it turned in as well. But Mikel absolutely bravery dialed up to number 11 on that particular move. And he'll be very, very keen to do a similar kind of activity next time around as well. Not least of which is to help the BRC Hyundai Squadron Plus team in the team standings, but also to a certain degree to teammate Mikel Azcona in the drivers' standings. Norbert Michaelis as well. Driver standings. Squad watching on. Tarquini needs no introduction, of course. Touring car legend, former Grand Prix driver as well. Basically won everything that's worth winning in touring cars, all the way back to the Super Touring era. Through to TCR as well. Former world champion, British touring car champion, European champion, absolute legend in the sport is Gabriele Tarquini. By Squadron Course team to impart some of that experience and knowledge that he's gained over the years. He seems to be working very nicely in the team. So we're still in the safety car conditions. The lights are still ablaze. It is Ted Bjork from Jan Elishay. Mikel Azcona's in 3rd. Santiago Urrutia, according to my time screen, is 4th. Esteban Gurrieri and Norbert Michaelis 6th. 7th position goes the way of Bebu Girolamo Marchiquois. Failed to make any inroads really at the start of the race. Started 8th, currently in 8th. Rob Huff is a big mover from qualification. He's up in a 9th position for Volcano Motorsports and so good start for Rob Huff. Jason Zank holding on in 11th place. Dusan Borkovic moves up in the top 12. Martin C drops down in the 13th place. John Felipe, no real progress there in 14th position. As a Chow up into 15th. David Zhu, a bit of a difficult qualifier, sorry, difficult race. He's dropped down to 16th place. It was 11th place starting position, so not ideal for David. The Hyundai N machine. Sorry, in the Lincoln Co. Teamwork Motorsports machine. You will see that the safety car is still out. The lap still say 16, but don't worry, we can add up to 2 additional laps to the race distance to make up for any neutralised time behind a safety car intervention. So that will change eventually, signify a new race distance of 18 laps. Of course, teams fill the cars up accordingly for this very eventuality. So we're going to have no dramas in terms of fuel usage. Dramas will be man-made about how these drivers can race each other on the track. It's been a good start for Norbert Michaelis. Had a bit of drama. Still in 6th position. He's ahead of his teammate Bebu Girolamo. So Bebu no doubt will be playing the defensive game behind Norbert. He is behind his main championship contender, and Norbert Michaelis will be missing out on points opportunities should things stay as they are. There's definitely work to do for the riding on board with momentarily there at Martin Z. Where is Martin on the timing screens? He's currently 13th position. So lost a little bit from qualification. He's quick. He's quick as well. So expect to see him keen to move forward. Momentarily, I didn't think the safety car lights were out then. It is saying safety car in this lap, even though the lights are still flashing. So hopefully, that little graphic at the top of your screen is correct. The safety car will be in this lap, and we can go racing again. Pretty cool safety car, I must say. Striking yellow. Peeling off down the pit lane. Good job, Ted York to, in effect, act as the safety car, so racing ahead of the pack. For Ted, this has worked out absolutely beautiful. Lap for his career. He qualified apparently. 40 kilos on board that car. Cleared Santi Arruti almost immediately. But Jan Elishie just with a little bit of difficulty. Does Jan in 2nd position. So Ted Bjork is definitely in a very, very good place to close down that points advantage of Norbert Michaelis. Norbert all the way down in 6th position as things stand. So Ted will be more than keen to get a good launch off of this restart, try and build himself an advantage. This man Marchiquois will be more than keen to move forward, not least of which because he's racing at home. He's down in 8th position. So there we go, safety car in. Ted Bjork is your safety car through the final corner. That's the green flags. We've already moved up to 18 laps. As we begin lap 7, we are under racing conditions again. The 2 Lincoln Co. Cyan racing cars pretty much caught Mikel Afcon asleep, it is fair to say, on that safety car restart. That's a healthy advantage between the 2 of them. Marco Butti apparently is in pit lane as well. Not quite sure. We'll check on that one if that is correct or not. That is John Felipe going a little bit deep as well. Of course, caught a few people out. Very, very little grip when you come off of the racing surface. Felipe though back on the racetrack in and around the top 14, 15 positions. There is Marchiquois, pressure from Rob Huff behind them, one of the teamwork cars as well. Booty is indeed down pit lane as he drops down the order, and that is contact. Felipe makes contact with the rear of the Honda. Left the nose in a little bit too long. Hopefully that's not too bad a damage. John Felipe, contact between himself and one of the Honda cars. I didn't catch the number, I wasn't quite sure exactly who that is. But that is certainly not going to help the aerodynamic profile of that Audi. And for good measure, further contact further down the Honda and the teamwork car, and then we're spun back round again as well. Martin Z having an absolute nightmare of it. Multiple bits of contact. Z gets the car back on track. It's crabbing a little bit though. There is the Marco Butti machine. He's got a fresh set of boots on. They don't have a gamble with the wet tyres. It's worth a try when you're not really in the sharp end of the field. So Marco Butti, I'll keep an eye on his lap times as we go. But Butti comes in from around 11th position. Throws a set of wet boots on that car. Let's see if that plays to his advantage. Mikel Azcona concerned not one iota about tyres, more interested in the little matter of Jan Elishay and trying to find a way past the Lincoln Co. Cyan racing car ahead. Azcona seems to have the pace in this race. He's definitely the quickest of our leading drivers. Whoa! Using the curb and a little bit more as well to try and get the launch to the final corner. Very slippery curbs here at Zhuzhou. That's not going to work to his advantage. Esteban Gurrieri now goes on the defensive. Gurrieri just about holds on to that one from Santi Arruti, keeping a watching brief. Just behind is Norman Michaelis. And this is the fight. Mikel Azcona absolutely on his tippy toes and doing a grand job of pressuring the Lincoln Co. car of Jan Elishay behind. Now's the launch to the inside. Can Azcona get the car stopped on time? Yes, he can. Very smooth on corner exit. Elishay tries to get the cut back. Stop the car on the apex. Thank you very much, says Mikel Azcona. I'll take that position away. And we're now up in a second. The Spanish driver on a charge. Big question is, does he have the pace in that Hyundai to get in contention with Ted Bjork? Ted's carrying 40 kilos. Mikel Azcona 30, a 10 kilo advantage. Will it be enough? It's not really going to make a difference in these conditions. It's all about driver feel and bravery, and Mikel Azcona is certainly chock full of confidence in this moment in time. 10 laps left on the clock. Gap between our two race leaders. I will tell you when the timing refreshes, and that is sadly Martin Z in yet more strife. The number 55 car, Black Pro Racing Team, Honda Civic Type R FL5 ain't going nowhere fast. And unfortunately, what that means is another slight break in proceedings as we call out the safety car once again, as the Snatch team quickly recover Martin Z's machine and get us back up and running once again. There is the safety car. Who's that picked up? That's one of the GOAT Racing Hondas. They're getting the way through though, of course, because that is not our race leader. And that's going to be interesting for the wet shot Marco. Let's take another look. What happened here? That's the initial contact that we saw between Martin Z and the number 9, David Zhu. Then the secondary contact. The car pirouetted around. That is a very unhappy driver indeed. That's a big hit. See from the onboard camera, that's a really, really big hit. And that's where the damage to the rear of the cars comes from. And unfortunately, it's only a matter of time before you find a little bit of grass to plonk it on. And that is going back on a low loader. A lot of work to do for the Black Pro team to get that one fighting fit again for race 2 tomorrow. Same sort of time, 1:40 in the afternoon local, around 7:30 ST.
Lap by lap, you're going to overtake all the cars. Everybody can see, you are the only one in wet
They're talking to his charge, Marco Butti. Pepe informing everybody's on slicks. Marco Butti is the only driver on wet tyres. This safety car could not have been better for Marco Butti. Now he can climb up to the back of the grid. Yes, he's going to lose a little bit of temperature, but he doesn't have the big gap to make up. Marco Butti, you know, could be one of the surprises of this race. Where is he in the running order as things stand? I'm going to have a look at my borderline untrustworthy live timing, and it is saying 25th position for Marco Butti, so he is all the way at the back of the field, but this will be a gift for Marco Butti to see everybody so totally next. If these wet tyres can get turned on, if it proves to be the right choice, we'll see Marco Butti carving his way through the field when we get under green flag conditions once again. Absolutely, I do like a gamble, I must admit, and for Butti, 11th position at the time of coming in, it's absolutely worth throwing the dice and seeing what happens. And I do think the Italian GOAT Racing driver could well be looking at something quite interesting when we go green flag racing again. Taking a little while to get this car away. The Snatch vehicle, the tow rope's been attached. I don't think that's going to be a hard drag from there though. There is Marco Butti. Wet tyres on the car. Big opportunity. The 199.
Marco, mancano 10 giri e sei l'unico con gomme bagnate. Non stressare le gomme, ok?
Pepe speaking Spanish there, unfortunately, or Italian. Not quite sure how to translate that one to English, but it will be probably words to the effect of, this is your chance, sunshine. Go for it with everything you've got. Marco Butti's most definitely not backwards when it comes to coming forwards. Very aggressive driver when the need takes him. He's running out of laps, but he has got the opportunity. Hopefully we can go racing very, very soon indeed. We're on lap 10 of 18 at this moment in time. It is still Ted Bjork in the front of the field from Mikel Afkoda in second position. Third place, Jan Elishay for Esteban Gary, Santi Rutia just ahead of the Mar Chinghua, Rob Huff and Jason Zhang are our top 10 drivers. There is Butti. Getting a little bit of temperature in the car. It's a good opportunity for the Italian driver just to push it when he can, where it's safe of course, because we're in the safety car conditions, so you can't run too quickly. So that does mean there is some danger out of the circuit. That is Victor Chan. Tony Chan as well, his teammate on the road. So both of these drivers elected to throw some wet tyres on it. Might as well. You're under safety car conditions, you're further down the running order. There's absolutely nothing to lose from it if they can get that turnaround quickly before we get back into racing conditions. And I can certainly say it does look a little bit wetter when we started this race. Does look like we're not going to get full torrential downpour conditions. It's not a huge amount of cloud coverage. It's that kind of smoggy type cloud that's in the sky that kind of takes the whole sky up, but there's no real thick, heavy rain clouds up there. It's just a light but consistent falling of rain, and the track greasy in these kind of conditions. It can actually almost sometimes be a little bit more difficult on a wet set of tyres than it is on a slick. When you've got a greasy surface, the tyres don't have anything to bite into, especially when you lose temperature. It can become very, very treacherous indeed. And I do think for the likes of Butti and for the likes of Victor and Tony Chan, it's absolutely worth a roll of the dice to see if you can shake anything free and get an unexpected result. Lights still ablaze then on the safety car. Things stay as they are. This would work out very, very nice for Ted Bjork indeed. In terms of his overall points position standings, Ted came into this one after qualifying just 23 in arrears of Norbert Michaelis. As things stand, Bjork is on for a 30-point haul for race victory. Michaelis 16th for 6th place. And there is Victor Chan. Getting his skates on to catch up the back of the safety car queue, now shod with fresh Kumho wet tyres. It's going to be very, very interesting to see the two Chans, see how they get on. And Marco Butti, who's a little bit further up the running order in 25th, is Marco. I think it's the last time we see action around that Coat Racing Honda, it has to be said. So Lord of our World Tour leader, he would so very much like to find a way past Santiago Urrutia ahead. Not just for his own standings, of course, it's also for the team standings. It's currently Lincoln Kosei racing the lead team standings from the BRC Hyundai N Squadron Corsa team. So relatively comfortable advantage for Lincoln Co. Anything that BRC can do to nibble away at that points advantage, they will gleefully grab with both hands, I'm absolutely sure. Norby, of course, can find a way past. That puts him very much in contention with Esteban Guerrieri, another one of his title rivals. Tarquini doesn't look like a particularly comfortable man at this moment in time. A little bit of tension there. Gabriele Tarquini, he knows what's riding on this one. For his drivers in the BRC squad, it's taken a long time to clear the debris and various stranded cars we saw from the instance earlier on. Hopefully we can get under green flag conditions. It's only a short lap here at Zhuzhou, 3.7 kilometres or 2.3 miles depending on your unit choice of measure. So we do quite quick laps, and that's going to, every lap that we're behind the safety car is going to eat into the opportunity for the likes of Marco Butti. He wants as many green laps as possible to try and take some advantage out of those wet tyres. The longer we're behind the safety car, the less time he's got to find his way forward. Nice squad looking on. Concern of the team there, I'm absolutely sure. Furrowed brows in the data. Still been a very, very good race for the Hyundai team. They were worried about their pace coming into the weekend. And Mikel Azcona, arguably the fastest man on the racetrack, it has to be said. Does he have the fastest lap? I was looking through my timing. Azcona doesn't actually, surprisingly, doesn't have the fastest lap as things stand. But obviously we've got very changeable weather conditions. It's changing almost lap upon lap. And even look, even the slow conditions of the safety car, it still looks very, very greasy. But not with Nicholas's car. It's not going to be easy. The temperatures, despite the best efforts of the drivers, weaving, dragging the brake a little bit, accelerating and braking, just trying to get some heat, a heat cycle through the tyres, through the brakes. It's still going to be very cold race cars when we go green flag conditions again. What you don't want as a driver, the worst combination possible for a driver is a cold race car and a greasy track. It's not going to help their job any bit whatsoever. Marco Butti, wet tyres on board. They can see the rainfall from that camera shot actually. That's a really good shot. The rain is categorically falling heavier than at any stage we've seen in this race for sure. This is definitely played in the hands of Marco Butti, played into the hands of the Norris Racing drivers, Tony and Victor Chan as well. Big question is though, can we get green flag racing? That's the question. If we can get on the green flag, we'll start to see if that has been the right call. And it's perfectly on time. Thank you very kindly indeed. That's the sign that we like to see. Safety car in this lap. We start of lap 13 of 18. We're back in the green flag conditions again. There's our striking safety car. Didn't like that, I must admit. First time I've seen that one this weekend. In a few months' time, now they'll be peeling off. It'll be down to Ted Bjork again. Mikel Azcona was a little bit tardy off the line for the last restart. Gave a bit of an advantage, I think, to the two Lincoln Co cars. Will he have learnt his lesson? Second time of asking, can he stay a little bit closer to Ted Bjork initially to try and close that gap down? Fernandez there as well, sometime driving for him in TCR Europe. Mads Fischer from Yas Motorsport just behind as well. Everybody's out in support of Esteban Gurrieri's championship charge. But where will the loud pedal be pressed for Ted Bjork? He's gone early, as Bjork. A little bit deep, almost off onto the curb actually. But Bjork does carry that advantage through the final corner. Azcona's a little bit sharper off the marks this time around as well. Jan Alichet, a few paces further back. The French driver really has been out of sorts in this race. Definitely not displaying the kind of pace that Azcona and Bjork at the front of the field are showing. Santi Arrutia keen to get his nose in as well. A little bit further back in fifth position, Gurrieri is the driver. He's on the defensive. There's a few passes further down the running order as well. There you see at the top of your shot. That was a nice, if aggressive move by David Deng. Azcona looks to the inside, now the outside. Look how difficult it is to get the car stopped in these conditions. It really, really is wet out there on track. There is Rob Huff getting bought in as well. John Felipe, a little bit late now to the party, I think, on that one. And that's a race lead change. We have a race lead change. Mikel Azcona, air of the inevitability about it, it has to be said. But Azcona makes the move on Ted Bjork. He's our new race leader. Bjork falling into the grass, and Jan Alichet behind as well. No, but Michaelis will be desperate to get into this conversation. Marco Butti's already made a handful of positions. He's up in a 20th place. The leader of the drivers with wet tyres on, but Mikel Azcona may as well be running wet tyres, such as the pace advantage he's enjoying at this moment in time. Marcinquoir's having a little look as well. The two Lincoln Co's almost side by side with the teamwork machine. Just about holds on, so Mark can't quite find a way past this moment in time. He is looking though, is Mar, is down in 10th position. Zhang got past on the last couple of corners, but Mar will be keen to retake that one as quickly as possible. If anything, actually, Mar's coming under big pressure. Dusan Borkovic behind, so Borkovic on a charge as well. Serbian driver, not seen much of Borkovic in the race so far. It's been quiet but effective. For the GOAT Racing star, he's up into 11th position. Marco Butti makes another place. Off camera, he moves up into 19th. So those wet tyres are certainly working for Butti. The question is, will they kick in soon enough to have any real impact on the big results? You can see the rainfall now is absolutely categorically, significantly more severe than when we started this race. It's going to be becoming increasingly perilous now for these drivers on slick tyres to not really just stay on track, not to be competitive, but just stay on the racetrack. There's going to be the big call of the day. Ted Bjork struggling. There's a dive. That's a good move from Esteban Gurrieri. Last of the late breakers, caught Ted Bjork napping. Gets the position. Jan Elishay interested in making a move. Thinks better of it though. Drops behind his teammate, does Elishay. Santi Arrutia has the outside line, but he's under firm orders not to get involved in this particular fight, I dare say. Arrutia not in the championship contention, but Ted Bjork, a bit of a cork in the bottle, it has to be said, over the last few corners. The Swedish driver has been the class of qualifying and the race thus far, but as it gets wetter, the pace is dropping away from that 111 machine, and Esteban Gurrieri now coming into his own. And the front of the field, Mikel Azcona, almost in a different class to be a couple of seconds up the road. Azcona has this one in the bag. If he can keep the car on the tarmac. No, but Mikulis being a little bit reluctant to get too heavily involved in everything as he's sideways in his Elantra. Good stuff from Mikulis. 6th position is a decent damage prevention in what could have been a very difficult weekend of racing. Bebo Girolamo is not going to be too enthused to make a move on his teammate. He's very much protected from the future charge of Rob Huff, who's working wonders up into 8th place behind. Great drive under the radar this one's been for Rob Huff, picking up positions. A little bit deep goes Mikulis. Opens the door for Girolamo. Girolamo though reluctant to step through that opportunity. He wants Norby to score the maximum points possible to try and help defend and protect his championship lead. We go through again, lap 15 of 18. Where is Marco Butti? 15th position. Webshot GOAT Racing Honda Civic is making inroads, but I think it's going to be too little too late. That's a good move. That is Rainy He in second, car number 2, making a pass and then proceeding to go very sideways. Indeed. Dengbo Wei is a driver. He's fighting with the Honda of Dengbo Wei, looking one way and then the other. Rain is going to be very careful now. We're in a very tricky, precarious position. The inside line isn't necessarily where the grip is. We've seen a lot of cars struggling to get it stopped into the hairpin. No problem on this occasion, but that does allow the teamwork machine, the number 12 car of Sunny Wong, to buy in. Sunny has the inside line. He's earned the right to the space, and he gets the space. So Sunny Wong now makes the pass, and that is one loss for Dengbo Wei. From the attacker to the defender. Now the Honda Civic does have a little bit of work to do. A little bit further back as well. The back wheel shot there is Ifan, detached from this particular battle, but if he keeps wobbling, we'll start closing into Ifan eventually. I do think though we're running out of laps for that to happen. Marco Butti up another position, 14th place now. He's passed through. So Butti definitely has the pace. He's almost back to where he came in the pit lane, but I do think he's run out of time to really get involved in the conversation. That's the 36 car of Jason Zhang doing a really good job at this moment in time. In 9th place, he's got Ma Qinghua behind, just behind him, Dusan Borkovic as well, slowly clambering his way back up the order from a disappointing qualifying. But I do think Ma Qinghua down in 10th place will be a little frustrated, it has to be said, to be behind Lincoln Co. Teamwork Motorsports Lincoln Co. Ma hoping for a lot more racing in front of his home crowd. The pace just doesn't seem to be there in the 155, and if anything, Dusan Borkovic was looking the more spicy of the two drivers at this moment in time. Dusan telegraphing it nice and early to the inside. Look at the rainfall on that camera angle now. It is properly raining here at Zhuzhou. Borkovic gets it all sideways on the brakes. Can both drivers get a car slowed down in time? Yes, they can. Mar holds on. Borkovic looking hungry, and look in the background. Look in the background. That is Marco Butti. 127, by the way. John Filippi has a 10-second time penalty that'll be added to his race time at Filippi, all the way down in 25th. Is it going to make any difference to the overall scoring charts? And there around the outside and back of shot is Marco Butti. So maybe the time is coming to him now. Marco up in a 13th position. His teammate just ahead. Remember, he came down pit lane in 11th onto the safety car to put wet boots on. It's looking like an inspired decision for Marco Butti. The sad thing for him is he's just running out of lap time to take that advantage. He's got teammate Dusan Borkovic in front as they appear through the murk. Butti has the inside line. He's got the confidence. He's got the grip. He almost collects the back of Marching War for good measure. Such is the advantage of those wet Kumho tyres. And now Marco Butti peeks out from the rear of the Lincoln Co. Will he be brave enough on the brakes? Mar thinks about closing the door, has a couple of bites of the cherry, but there is, with about an inch to spare, a Honda Civic size gap. And in fact, Dusan Borkovic likes the look of that one and follows through as well. Yeah, a big cheer there on pit lane and wave to camera as well. Cheering on husband Dusan, of course, as always. It's a very opportunistic overtake there from Borkovic, very nicely done indeed. Mar drops a couple of positions in one corner, and then Butti almost immediately on the inside of Jason Zhang. No problems whatsoever. This is game on for Marco Butti. There's only 2 laps to go. It's not going to be for a podium, I don't think. But I reckon that Marco has got a very good chance. Okay, gaining a lot of positions very, very quickly indeed. Next victim on the line is Huff. And look at the confidence on the brake and confidence on turning, and the wet tyres give Marco Butti absolute ages away from the back of Huff's car, but still gets alongside in the braking zone. Then he's going to outdrive and outgrip the Volcano Motorsport driver. Easily overtake that one for the 199. Butti now into 8th position. Bebu Girolami, he's the next man up the road. And then just in front of him, Norbert Michaelis, who can ill afford to lose another position. Can Norby? But I do think this smells of inevitable. Butti has the inside line. Girolami knows there's absolutely no benefit to try to defend that one. He's quite literally in a different race as Marco Butti with those wet tyres. And that's what, 3 cars in 1 lap. Up in his 7th position. I said he wasn't on for the podium. I might have to wind that one back a little bit at this rate, because the pace that Marco Butti is showing is quite simply sensational. Now we close on the back of Norby. This will be doing his team and teammate a massive favour if he can find a way past Michaelis. Over does it a little bit, does Butti, catches the grass. Fortunately for him, it was only a little bit of grass, though it didn't pull the car too wide. Mikhail Koda at the front of the field, crosses the line to start his final lap. Karting line from Michaelis, trying to find all the grip he can on the outside of the circuit, but Marco Butti didn't play those games. He's got wet tyres, he's got more grip by magnitudes of 10 than Michaelis from a mile back. He gets the position done, does Butti, and moves him up into 6th place. Does he have enough to close Santiago Urrutia down, though? That's the big question. Santiago for 4 and a bit seconds up the road. I don't think it's going to be far too much of a task for Marco Butti. Michaelis not happy in another position lost, does not need that one for his own points collecting purposes. But Butti, inspired decision by Goat Racing, by Marco, by everybody involved. Pepe Oriolo, of course, team manager there, absolutely working wonders for Marco Butti here. Up in his 6th position at the front of the field, it's all about Mikel Azcona. Spanish driver having a beautiful opening race here in China. This will be the first victory for Mikel Azcona since Argentina back in 2023. The first win of the year, believe it or not, for Mikel Azcona. It's been a season of massive speed as always, never quite transferring that into results that we know he's capable of. But this will be a real boost for Mikel. 7.5 seconds to the good from Esteban Gurrieri. That is a lifetime in touring car racing. Jenson Button-esque in his feel for these mixed conditions. Mikel Azcona really at one with the car, really knowing where the grip is, knowing how much risk he can take. Car still very mobile underneath him. You can see there's very little grip. But through the final corner, Mikel Azcona for the BRC Hyundai N Squadron Corsa team flashes his lights, takes the checkered flag to win round 11 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Absolutely sensational there for Azcona. Esteban Gurrieri does his own championship challenge, the world of good, in second position. Ted Bjork, I think, will be a little bit disappointed, it has to be said, crossing the line in third. Elishay, even more disappointed still in fourth position. Santiago Urrutia finishes fifth. Marco Butti closed half of that gap down, but he just ran out of laps in the GOAT Racing Honda. Still high fives, they're all around. A great day's racing for the Spanish team. Gurrieri second, Butti sixth, and a great drive from Borkovic in 11th as well. Ariola like that one, didn't they? Yes, that's a man who knows that they made a good strategic call, and their championship challenger has had a banner day in second position when you consider his main rival, Norbert Michaelis, was all the way down in seventh. In terms of the TCR China competitors, well, they've had a fantastic showing as well. First across the line is Jason Zhang in 10th place for the Lincoln Co team where Motorsports car, then Martin Chow. He's second for TCR China for the Hyundai N squad, 12th overall, and third is Andy Yan in 14th overall. So good results there for our TCR China drivers. Confirmation of your provisional race results is popping up at the bottom of the screen. Of course, always provisional these results until all the checks and balances have been made at the end. But absolutely fantastic stuff and a really strong performance there from Mikel Azcona. What that does mean as well, the very slight, and it is very slight, possibility that Norbert Michaelis could wrap the title up this weekend has now well and truly been thrown in the dustbin. Come what may, whatever happens tomorrow, it's going down to the wire in Macau, which is fabulous stuff to see. Provisionally, it will be a 17-point advantage over Ted Bjork for Norway at the head of the standings, 18-point advantage over Gurrieri, 27 over Azcona in fourth, and 35 over Jan Elishay. Let's just repeat that, shall we? 18 points covering our top three drivers, 27 covering our top four. The FIA TCR World Tour never fails to deliver. What an absolutely sensational setup for race 2 tomorrow. And what a good, safe, consistent drive from Norbert Michaelis as well. That was a clever bit of driving from Norby. Stayed out of trouble on a day when things could have gone very sideways indeed. And picks up relatively solid points for his own charge. Cheers then from your race winner, Mikel Azcona. Don't dent the roof of that car too much, mate. You've got to go racing again tomorrow. Straight into the BRC squad. And there's a bunch of very cheerful people. Indeed, a new lid for Esteban Gurrieri this weekend, it seems. And an exceptional day for Esteban. It's been one of those days where it's not been very high profile. We've not seen a great deal of the Argentine driver, but then he's come through and got a fabulous result. Ted Bjork, third place. Little smile on the Swedish driver's lips there, but I'm sure that Ted will be counting this one as a victory lost rather than a podium one. Still a very potent drive indeed from him. Little bit of debriefing there. The two Argentine drivers shaking the hand with Pepe Ariola as well. And it really was a good drive from Esteban Gurrieri, it has to be said. Very fast, decisive when he needed to be, strong overtaking, good bravery, and a man who was determined to maximise his opportunity, maximise his points haul against Norbert Michaelis and BRC. I think he's done that one very well in indeed. So here's our provisional results then from round 11. Mikel Azcona takes the flag by 7 seconds from Esteban Gurrieri. Ted Bjork in third, Jan Elishay in fourth, and then Urrutia Butte, Michele Girolami and Huff. So in a few moments' time, I think we're going to be going down to grab a quick word with our race winner. We'll wait for that one as we look at the final few provisional results. Only 3 retirees from that race at the checkered flag.
Mikel Azcona, massive congratulations. I spoke to you before the start of the race and you told me you weren't sure if you had the pace of the Cyan guys. Clearly you do because you passed all of them. That was a great race for you.
Thank you very much. I love these conditions, man. I love these conditions. That was the only chance to fight against the blue because on dry they were in another category, so I was wishing to the rain, and that's the same conditions that I wanted before the race. The beginning was very challenging because we were with the forest leaks. Track was very slippery, so it was very easy to make mistakes. But straight away I felt I had the pace to go for a win. I took calm and I said 16 laps to go. Keep calm, and the problem was very easy to do a mistake. I was able not to do any mistake, and yeah, I love this condition. Thank you to my team. The car was working on this condition amazingly. So yeah, thank you to Hyundai and BRC.
Great job, Mikel. Thank you.
Great job is perhaps the understatement of the day for Mikel Azcona. That was a very powerful drive indeed from the Spanish driver. 7.5 seconds was the winning margin at the flag, which is borderline unheard of in touring car racing. And as Mikel says, he loves these conditions, and that absolutely came very much to the forefront in that race. Decisive when he needed to be, controlled aggression when he needed it as well. Just like that man Esteban Gurrieri, coming from a little bit further back, was Esteban, started in 6th position for this race. Cleared 5 cars ahead of him to finish in 2nd place at the checkered flag. That's done a world of good, as I mentioned previously, for his championship standings. 1 point behind Bjork in 2nd and 18 away from Norby at the head of the field, but with a good starting position for race 2. We'll be starting from 5th place in race 2. He's got a good opportunity to score some more points. And speaking of points, here are the provisional standings. In fact, it's 15 and 16 for Bjork and Gurrieri. Azcona 25 in arrears in 4th, with Elishay 33 back in 5th position. Very, very close at the head of the standings. I think it's time to head to the podium in a few moments' time.
We've spoken to mainly the Zion. So there are your highlights then from a very entertaining opening race of the weekend.
And everybody's getting prepared now for our first podium ceremony for the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour and TCR China categories that have been on show today. It's been some fabulous racing, hard racing all the way through the pike, and a much deserving race victor in Spain's Mikel Azcona for the BRC Hyundai N Squadra Corsa team. Everybody's gathering together. Lisa Leyland will be down there shepherding people to the podium as we speak, and the rain thankfully has eased a little bit, so hopefully everybody will stay dry apart from the champagne spraying. So in a few moments time then, podium ceremonies will commence. Top three cars in Parc Fermé. In fact, here we go. Let's head to Lisa onto the podium ceremony. There we go then. That is our podium finishers here at the Zhuzhou circuit, international circuit in China. A very deserving podium, put on a great show, some great racing amongst the three of them as well as the rest of the field. And Mikel Azcona with a dominant victory at the end. A little bit of champagne will be sprayed. Although I dare say everybody's going to be saving themselves for tomorrow. It's a big day of racing tomorrow, of course. Ted Bjork seems to have cheered up a little bit since the end of the race. he's still very satisfied with another trophy to add to his collection, indeed. Very gentlemanly. Congratulating again Mikel Afkona and Esteban Guerriere. Close the championship standings up very tightly at the head of the World Tour title chase, it has to be said.
I mean, they should be all the race like this.
For us fans at home, it's an absolutely fabulous result to really, really bring the tension for race 2, round 12, that'll be taking place tomorrow. And as our World Tour drivers step away from the podium now,